Hello, my name is Troan Bashford, and I'm a neuromuscular therapist. I've gone from 16 Advil a day to vibrant, radiant health, and I want to tell you about the appointment that changed my life. We do go back to 1992 in the spring. At that point, my health had hit an all-time low. I was in so much pain, hence the 16 Advil a day. That was to manage the headaches, the pain in my body. I'd had horrible headaches. We'd done the endoscope for the upper GI, found out that I had a stomach ulcer. I had chronic bronchitis, sinus infections, blood clot in my left leg. At that point, I was 35 years old. I weighed 235 pounds. I was eating all of my emotions and my pains. I kept thinking if I ate something, maybe I'd feel better. I'd broken some bones, mostly my left side, which was really interesting. Chronically spraining ankles and hurting myself. I had constant ringing in my ears and balance problems. I'd had 2 EKGs for chest pains. You get that horrific chest pain running up into the neck, you go into the doctor. They were panic attacks. So after the second one, my doctor, who I saw regularly, suggested that I use Xanax for the panic attacks. It's an anxiety disorder medication when you're sitting in the car and you just can't get yourself to walk into the grocery store. That lasted for a while, the panic attacks, and so eventually the doctor put me on imipramine for depression, which actually adds to weight gain problems, which doesn't help the depression. The headaches were so bad that the doctor, who I was seeing almost monthly for one thing or another, had done a CT scan, concerned about a brain tumor or an aneurysm. I remember that phone call when he said, "Now, Kay, we have conclusive proof you have nothing between your ears. Thank you very much." It was a good news, bad news thing, wasn't it? Then, to add to it, all of a sudden I started to develop ear infections, chronic ear infections. I remember having more than the usual black and blue marks from falling down. Went into the doctor and he said, I don't understand it. He said, you have double ear infection in one ear, and over time we've discovered I have permanent hearing loss from 2 years of ear infections. And I was seeing all of the right experts, the ENTs at the university, specialists. I was very grounded in Western medicine. I wanted to know. I wanted the double-blind studies. I wanted the blood tests. They should know. They would be able to find the answers for me. They were the experts. They've been taken years of education. Unfortunately, that wasn't happening. No one was finding out what was causing my ear infections. So the beginning of my healing process, going back to 1992, was when I walked into my first appointment with Kimberly, who was a St. John's neuromuscular therapist. And Kimberly took a little bit of a postural assessment, actually a real thorough one. And here's what she saw. My knees were locked in position. My feet, my toes were gripping the floor in front of me. My low back hurt. My hips were kind of locked up. I was on the phone a lot, so my left shoulder was a little high. My head was tipped from keeping that phone. My right shoulder was low because I was mousing and typing. So, of course, occasionally I'd have numbness and tingling in my arms from falling asleep, and the headaches were pretty obvious. Head kind of tilted back. It wasn't a pretty sight, as you can imagine. And she looked at me and she smiled and she said, "What's going on with your jaw and your jaw pain?" And I thought, oh, for goodness sakes, here we go. I don't have any jaw pain. I've got everything else going on. And she smiled and she's putting on a latex glove. She says, "Open up your mouth." And she worked a muscle on the roof of my mouth way in the back that hurt like the dickens. And that was my last ear infection. You see, what I had that nobody else had known, and nobody, not even the experts, told me that I know now, I had a postulus eustachian tube. Sounds really big, doesn't it? It's a small little muscle in the roof of your mouth that when it spasms, it forces the tube, the eustachian tube valve open, so that the bacteria from my sinuses continue to reinfect my ears. Now, how would I have gotten a postulus eustachian tube? And that was really a big shift, because when Kimberly told me, and this was appealed to my analytical accounting brain, checks and balances. How does things happen like that? So the summer when I started developing the ear infections, I had spent that summer eating wonderful jawbreakers with my nieces called tear jerkers. And you'd eat them and everything would spasm up because they were so sour, and you'd have tears rolling down your eyes and your cheeks. Well, that had spasmed up those muscles so badly, forcing that tube open, and that had created my ear infections. Now that was a tipping point for me to know that I had done it myself, that there was cause and effect with this thing. So I needed to know, how does this work? And this is what sets the St. John's Neuromuscular Therapy apart from other things that I've heard about, some people had told me about, some things that I had tried. The thing about the St. John's, and this is where it fills the void, left by traditional health care, it's going to look for soft tissue reasons or causes of pain. According to recent studies, they've said that approximately 90% of our symptoms are idiopathic. Do you know what idiopathic means? There is no known cause. Now, it's been my experience that the reason there's no known cause for most pain problems is because they're not addressing the soft tissue. We're talking about muscles, ligaments, tendon, fascia. If we look at that and what's twisting and pulling the body out of alignment, we can get to those root causes of what's causing pain. And that's why I wanted to know, how does this work? I was in so much pain. I had so many family members that had issues and friends. I wanted to know how to do it and how to help people in their process of pain management. So I became a certified neuromuscular therapist in 1996. I was studying with Paul St. John. As soon as I learned this work, I became a teaching assistant, a facilitator. I eventually helped teach across North America, working with physical therapists, doctors, chiropractors, all sorts of different body workers. And it's just been such a joy that, and my practice became so busy that about 6 years ago, I opened up a wellness center, Benessere Body in Balance. And in Benessere is an Italian word that means well-being. And I believe that it's a group effort. Neuromuscular therapy is a small portion of what we need in our life to be healthy. We need the acupuncture. We need to find out what we're telling ourselves, as some of our other experts have told us. We need to find out, we need to strengthen our body. We need to look at our diet, our exercise, all of those things, and that is really what Benessere Body in Balance does. And that is my passion, to really help people find out what will make a difference in their pain. And I can tell you, the first appointment you have with me will change your life. Thank you.